Hi guys, as you can see, I've got a mess here. Welcome back to Bunny Brick Designs. So I started working on the Seafoam Sunrise collection, and like I said, I wanted to wire wrap these half drilled beads just because I didn't want to try to put anything in that hole. And so I came up with the idea of doing this, which is just a caged, and I think I'm going to make an earring out of that. And so we're going to do the mirror to this one together. I just wanted to get a design. So I'm going to take a length, probably, I don't know, 10 inches of 20 gauge round wire. I'm kind of eyeballing it here because I know I don't need that much. So I got working on this tonight and decided I want to finish this other one before I forget how I did it. And then tomorrow, the next day, I'll be doing a video with some shibori and the Seafoam Sunrise collection. One of the things I've challenged myself is with each kit, and I'm just straightening my wires here. Now you can use a tool like this, or you could use your nylon jaw pliers just to kind of give yourself a little bit to, straighten it out. I like these just because I think it gets it a little straighter. Anyways, as I was saying, I have given myself a challenge with each bead box. For like the last 9 months or so, my challenge was to see how much jewelry, how many pieces I can get out of one of those boxes and maximize the usage of it. So try to get 15, 20 pieces out of a bead box. My new challenge for 2024 is to do at least one wire wrap and one shibori or bead weaving or something more fancy out of each bead box. So this bead box, I'm going to be doing the wire wrapped earrings, and I'm going to be doing a shibori piece. All right, so now I've gotten my wire straightened. I'm going to take a piece of 21 gauge half round. Now, if you don't have half round, you can use 24 or 26 gauge round wire. I just like the half round because I think it gets flatter and I like it. And I'm just going to wrap it around 3, 4, maybe 5 times. Decide which side is going to be my inside. And I've got 6 on there, so we'll do 6 on here. Yeah. Okay. And this will be my inside. So I'm just going to quickly flatten down those, tuck them up with each other, and just snip off on the inside here. And then just flatten those out, and that's a little long, so I'm going to take a little more off of that on there, and we'll just do a little more off of that. You want to make sure it ends up ending on the inside here. And I'm just trying to smooth that out a little bit because that one, there we go, got a little wonky for a second. He's just being a little weird, but that's on the inside. As long as the outside looks good, I'm okay with the inside being a little bit wonky. All right, so now that I've gotten that, and it's roughly in the center, I am going to bend it around my cabochon. So I like to use my templates because, again, this is kind of, as you can see, it's got a little edge here and it's kind of curved. And if you are not careful when you're bending this, you'll bend it at an angle, so you'll have one wire longer than the other. So I like to use these templates that I designed. And I'm going to make sure I have my inside pointing toward my what would be the cabochon, and I'm just going to bend this around to get it started here because I do want this shape. And at least I've gotten it started there. And I know I'm going to need to go much smaller with that, so I'm just going to continue bending until I have it almost the size of my cabochon. It'll probably be a little bit bigger, which is fine. And I'm just testing the sizing there. All right, so that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And so now that I've gotten my rough shape and I know where they're going to cross, I'm going to take pliers, and it doesn't matter if you don't have neat tweezer nose. You can take regular pliers like this. It doesn't matter. I'm using these tonight. And I am just going to crimp on and bend it so that it is roughly a 90-degree. So it's pointing straight up. I'm going to do the same thing on this side so that they're pointing straight up so that they'll go together and match up like that. So my cabochon is going to sit in there, and there is going to be a gap because there's a gap on this one. And that's what we're going to fill in with the pretty filigree. Now that I've gotten this, I'm going to stick my finger in here to make sure that these wires don't fold over each other. You want to make sure that the back stays the back and the front stays the front. And I'm going to take another small piece of my half round. And again, you can use 26 or 24, 26 gauge round wire if you don't have half round. And I'm literally going to stick this in there just so, and it would help if I went the right direction. Only thing with half round wire, make sure you get the round edge, and we'll start with this side. Make sure you get the round edge facing out. And I'm sticking it in between, and I'm just holding it with my fingers and then just wrapping around just a couple of times around all of those wires just to kind of anchor it. And then, so I just wrapped it around. I don't know if you can see that real well. I wrapped it 3 times. I'm going to get you down here just a little more and see if I can zoom in. So yeah, so I've got it wrapped 3 times. And I've wrapped this around this side here just once, just to kind of anchor it in place. And I will cut this off here in a second. I'm just going to crimp that a little bit. And I'm going to come around one more time. Now, this is going to get hidden. Nobody's going to see this. This is just to kind of get it anchored so that these wires aren't going anywhere while we're working on the next step, kind of locking these in place. Now you can also, if you want, just for a little more security, go back around one more time, and I'm going to trim that so that when I tuck it in toward the center of the frame here, it's going to set down in, and I'm just going to crimp that so it's nice and smooth. So now I've got my starting point. Now we're going to seat our cabochon. So we're going to start out, and you're going to figure out which is the front and which is the back. So this is going to be my back. It's a little messier. This is going to be the front. This is going to be the back. So I'm going to set my stone in where I want it to be roughly. And I'm just going to hold on to it. And this is the fiddly part. So now that it's kind of sitting where I want it, I'm just going to take this back wire and I'm going to give it a little bend. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this other back wire. I'm going to pull it away from the other wires if I can get a hold of it. And this is why I say if we have the stone in there, I think it's a little easier to get a hold of stuff. Get it up, give it a little bend. Give this one a little bit more. So now that it's in there, try to get it as symmetrical as possible. You just need it so that it'll stay in when it's facing this direction. And then we're going to do the same thing on the front, except we're going to start out on a higher area and do that up here, because I don't want a ton of I don't want a ton of the wire over the stone, and that doesn't look right. Oh, I did that backwards. There we go. That will be covered, so I'm just going to tuck these in just a hair more so that it's in. And it's really not going anywhere at this point. It's a little loose. But that's fine. Once we start doing swirls and stuff, that stone won't go anywhere. So now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to find our wires on each side. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to pull wires one at a time and figure out which side they belong to. And now I've got them separated on either side. So the wires that are coming up here on this side go this way. The wires that are coming up here on that side are going that way. I am going to adjust this just a little here, just because I'm not liking the shape of that very well. There. We are going to cover that. Funny thing was, this one went perfectly off camera. All right. So I'm just going to take my 2 wires here, my 2 wires here, and my 2 wires here. So we've got 3 sets of 2. I'm going to take my bail making pliers, and on the 4th largest, I'm going to stick that in, and I'm going to wrap these 2 wires around, and I'm going to do that the same on the other side, just so that these are kind of symmetrical. Now, on this one, this side is, if you look at this, on this one, this side has the smaller swirl going around back and the larger one going around front. So now we're going to do the opposite. So this guy here, for a second, I'm just going to lift him up. I'm going to pull my 2 front wires out of the way. And I'm going to take this wire, and I am going to make a swirl here in front, right up in front of that, where we have what you would consider the bail, and then I'm going to wrap it around back. And then this guy now is going to come down, and we're going to make a loop in the opposite direction, like that. And then he's going to come around back. So there you have it. You may need to adjust your wires a little bit just to make it nice and tight. And so what we're going to do is, all we're going to do is on the first one, the little one here, this one, we're going to cut off these wires. And I know I had a lot of extra. Again, when I first designed this, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so I wanted extra. And I'm just going to take these, give them a little bend, and tuck them down in up against the bail wires. And so that's going to secure that. And then this one, and looking at it, it's just going to come around back here, get bent into a swirl shape, and then we're going to cut it off and just leave the swirl back there. And I'm going to make sure I'm using my flat side of my flush cutters. And then I'm just going to take these and curl them into the bail. So there we go. All right. So now we have these two wires left. Pick one, whichever one you decide you want to make your loop with. Take the other wire, and we're just going to finish it off by wrapping it around one time around that bottom wire and cutting it off. So it doesn't matter which wire, just pick one. You know, I decided to pick the straightest one. Now we're going to take the second smallest loop on our bail making pliers. I'm going to hold it just a little bit away from the where we just made that, and I'm just going to bend this around and do a wire wrapped loop by wrapping two, and see, that didn't get up there. And we're just going to wrap that a couple of times just so we have a nice loop. And you can straighten this out. And I just messed that up. Let me stick this back in here. Trying to round it out again because I just messed that up. Ooh. Okay. We're going to take these guys. There we go. It's a little better. Now, I'll probably have to fix that off camera. And then we're just going to continue wrapping until we get to where we met up with the other one. And then I'm just going to cut it off. And then I'm going to take that and tuck the wire in. Adjust my loops a little bit. And again, you can play with this until you get it exactly the way you want it. And then the last thing I'm going to do after tightening this stuff up is I'm just going to crimp these and make them look nice. That's going to annoy me there because it is in the front and I don't want to see that in the front. So I'm taking off one loop and cutting it in the back, and I just stabbed myself with wire. So we're just going to trim this guy right there. So he's in the back. I'm going to tuck him in against, and there's no, all right, so there we go. So there is the second one, and that guy is off center. I'm going to move him over here just a little if I can. There we go. So I'm just trying to adjust this loop a little bit. To get them more centered. There we go. A little more centered on the, all right. Ooh, and I keep that's what it is I keep pushing that guy down. All right, there we go. So this one's a little tighter than this one. I may redo this one off camera. It's just, it's so hard for me to do wire on camera. Just because I'm trying to do it and I'm trying to watch through the camera screen to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing, and it's not always conducive to neat wire wrapping. There, actually, that's better because I wanted those lined up. All right, so anyways, I'm going to be tweaking this for probably quite a while. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I'm going to redo this one probably off camera, but anyways, that's wire wrap pendant. So this, or earrings. There's the one I did off camera, as you can see, nice and neat. And hope this gives you inspiration for doing something with this. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, so I played with it a little bit more off camera. I got my loops a little better. Still not 100% perfect. And because they're slightly different in size, I'm going to make these into pendants. I'm going to do something really fun and funky with them. You know, maybe make a pendant, I might try to make them into earrings. Maybe shrink up the loop a little bit or do something. Anyways, I wanted to show you the second one redone after I played with it a bit. Tried not to nick the wires too much. But anyways, so this is what one way to do these half-drilled beads from the Bargain Bead Box Seafoam Sunrise collection. So I hope this gives you inspiration, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.